Have you ever noticed how some public figures just walk through fire? I mean, scandals that would absolutely vaporize a normal career, they just seem to shake it off, and sometimes they even get stronger. Okay, let's get into this, because it's a huge shift in how power and influence really work today.
It's a question that really makes you stop and think, right? We're not just talking about someone surviving a little mistake. We're talking about this weird phenomenon where the very thing that should have destroyed them becomes like a key part of their legend. How on earth does that happen?
I mean, you can't even have this conversation without bringing up Donald Trump. The man navigated a whole minefield of scandals, any one of which would have been a career ender for a traditional politician. But for his base, it was like every single attack just proved he was the fighter they believed him to be.
Or switch gears and think about the music world, right? Look at 50 Cent. This wasn't just some PR scandal. He was famously shot 9 times and lived. Instead of that being the end of his story, he turned around and built his entire brand on that exact story of survival. It made him seem invincible.
And hey, this isn't just something for politicians and rappers from back in the day. Look at the online world right now. You've got creators like iShowSpeed. His entire brand is basically built on chaos and controversy. And it seems like the more chaotic things get, the bigger his audience gets. You're seeing the pattern here, right?
Well, that pattern, it actually has a name. To really get what's going on, we need to talk about something called the digital fortress theory. It's a whole new way of looking at modern influence. So, what is a digital fortress? The key thing to understand is that it's not about being perfect. It's not about getting the thumbs up from the old guard, big newspapers or TV networks. It's a structure of power that you build for yourself, and it's based on 2 things: your ability to take a hit, and, this is crucial, your ability to control your own story. So this whole theory really rests on a few core ideas. It's about being resilient when others would collapse. It's about mastering your own narrative. It's about treating your platforms, your YouTube channel, your Twitter feed, like your own country with its own rules. And it's about seeing that comment sections, that's the new public square. Let's break down the 2 most important pillars here.
First up, and this might be the most important piece of the whole puzzle, narrative control. It's all about who gets to tell the world what just happened.
This quote right here, it just nails it. See, in the past, the media told your story for you. If you messed up, they wrote the headline. But today, the most powerful people have figured out how to hijack that whole process. The actual facts of what happened often matter way less than the story that gets repeated over and over again. The big question is, how do they do it?
It really breaks down into a 3-step playbook. First, you have to survive something huge. That's your trial by fire. Then, step 2, you have to immediately seize control of the comeback story. You can't let anyone else frame you as a victim or a failure. You frame yourself as a survivor, a fighter. And third, you master your environment, social media, music, whatever, to just hammer that version of the story home until it becomes the truth in people's minds.
But controlling the narrative like that is only possible because of this massive, massive shift in how media works, the rise of digital platforms. Just look at this contrast. It says it all. The old legacy institutions, they were all about gatekeepers. You needed their permission to get your voice heard. But these new digital fortresses, they give creators direct, totally unfiltered access to their audience. They get to define their own rules. And that move from centralized power to a decentralized audience, that changes everything. It's what makes them so resilient.
For a perfect real-world example of this, just look at someone like Candace Owens. After she left a legacy media company, she didn't just disappear. Nope, she just took her audience and moved her entire fortress online.
And this chart, wow, this shows you exactly what that power shift looks like. You can have an independent creator, just using platforms like YouTube, who can build an audience that completely dwarfs the primetime viewership of the very cable news networks that used to run the whole show. They don't need the institution anymore. Turns out, the institution needed them.
And this isn't some isolated thing. You see this pattern repeating everywhere. In music, you had 50 Cent with his comeback story. In politics, Trump with his total media mastery. And now online, iShowSpeed, who literally thrives on volatility. The specific strategy might be different, but the core principle, the fortress, is exactly the same. So, when you put all these pieces together, you start to see this new picture of what modern influence is. The entire goal of the game has fundamentally changed.
It's not about trying to keep a perfectly clean, polished image and just praying you never step out of line. Honestly, that strategy is fragile, it's outdated. The new strategy is all about preparing for the fire, knowing it's going to come. And that really brings us to the core thesis, the one big idea you should take away from all of this. Today, the most important measure of power isn't your polling numbers or how many likes you get. It's resilience. It is your ability to take a punch or 10 punches and still be standing, maybe even stronger than you were before.
So, at the end of the day, the ultimate takeaway is this. We are living in the era of the digital fortress. Power doesn't belong to the people who avoid the fight anymore. It belongs to the people who build a structure so strong, with a story so powerful, that it simply refuses to burn down. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. If this is the new blueprint for power, just look around you. Who do you see out there right now, laying the bricks, building the walls for the next great digital fortress?